Ulster Bank as it closes its last 15 branches today. I'm joined by the FSU General Secretary John O'Connell. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's a momentous day, really, and a very, very sad one.
Yeah, no, it is a sad day, and I think it's a day to acknowledge a couple of things. One is the loyalty of customers to Ulster Bank. Over 200 years, an institution, part of our fabric and part of our country and part of our economic life. So to acknowledge that, and also to acknowledge the commitment of staff, their dedication, diligent customer-focused service. And I know that right up to the last minute today that customers will enjoy that, excellent quality of service that they receive from the staff in Ulster Bank. But it is a sad day.
And they leave behind a wonderful legacy.
Yeah, they do indeed leave behind a legacy, and things change, but some things need to change and some things don't need to change. And we believe and argued very strongly and campaigned on behalf of staff and communities for the retention of Ulster Bank in Ireland. But unfortunately, they're governed from outside of the country, so sometimes decisions are taken in those circumstances that we find hard to understand. So, and this is one of those. It I suppose, drove the biggest logistical change since the Euro, and the FSU and the staff committed to an orderly exit for Ulster Bank. And I think that Jane Howard and the management team in Ulster Bank would be the first to admit that both the union and the staff played a full part in that.
How did it come to this, John?
I think it's all about money, unfortunately, and both Ulster Bank and KBC took decisions in relation to how they could invest their capital and maybe get a bigger return than they're getting in the Irish market. Now, I have to preface that by saying that was pre the changes in interest rates that we all see and indeed endure at the moment. And therefore, I think if they knew then what they know now, we might have had a different outcome. But we were in a very low in interest rate environment, and they felt that they could get a better return on their capital. Right. And unfortunately, that's the way capitalism works. They make those decisions. It's purely in the interest of the shareholders.
And you say they, outside mitigating forces, who were these forces? Who controlled Ulster Bank?
Well, NatWest is the parent company of Ulster Bank, and KBC is a Belgian-owned bank, whereas the three remaining banks that we have, all their headquarters are in Dublin, and there's a lot to be said for that. That, I suppose, leads to decisions being taken in the realm of the country that your head office is in, whereas, as we found, we had 12 banks in 2010, as we found that foreign-owned banks take a very clinical view in relation to their investments and their return for the shareholder. We always argue for a stakeholder view as opposed to a shareholder view. A stakeholder view would take the good of the country, would take employment, would take the economic circumstances all into account. Shareholder view is about a return for the shareholder. Obviously, the loss of Ulster Bank in the Republic of Ireland, they'll remain in Northern Ireland. The loss of Ulster Bank and KBC is a big loss for us.
Right. That in itself begs a question. Why are they remaining in Northern Ireland and not in the south?
When we all talked about Brexit and that, we never really knew the full implications of it. And this is the full implications of it playing out, that institutions are looking at their more national borders and retreating into those borders. And when we heard about consolidation in Europe in the banking sector, we said, well, that's not going to really impact us here, because we felt, having come down from 12 to 5 banks, that was about as much change as we could get. But unfortunately, we were wrong, and that consolidation came to Ireland as well, with Ulster Bank and KBC consolidating back to their respective home countries.
63 branches will be permanently closed today. The skill sets and the knowledge, hopefully a lot of this has not been lost. Has it been lost? I mean, your statement states quite clearly you believe it has left a gaping hole in banking services across the country.
Yeah, we believe that because these are very skilled people, very skilled in customer care, very skilled in lending, very skilled in dealing with people's day-to-day banking issues. So even one person leaving is a loss. To lose this many people is quite tragic, to be honest. And if you take it that's on top of 88 branches in Bank of Ireland, 16 in KBC, AIB equally had a small number of branches closed, I think around 12 or 15. So this has been a constant. And what we're saying, and we really need people to sit up and listen, we need to protect the banking network that we have. And we believe there's a real opportunity for that.
Right.
It should be thus far and no further.
You talk about retaining the banking levy, and you have a specific reason why. First of all, explain what the banking levy is and why you want it retained.
Right, so the banking levy is a levy that is in every country in Europe, almost without exception, and it levies on the banks mainly as a result of the impact of the crash on all our lives. You know, we have bigger class sizes, longer waiting lists in health services, all as a result because we pay massive interest rates as a result of the crash. And therefore, it's quite correct that there should be a levy on the institutions that were at the core of that were seen and shown to have acted recklessly. So the levy was put in place in 2014. It's been renewed since, and now the Minister is looking at a timely review of the levy, and the consultation poses a number of questions. It's a very short questionnaire, and I would ask people to look on the Department of Finance's website and respond to that questionnaire and tell them that they want a branch network protected, and that part of the banking levy should be to retain services. I'm a Tipperary man, in Wexford, in Waterford, in Donegal, and to use this money wisely to retain services for communities.
We must conclude our conversation, but I know you'd like to speak directly to those in Ulster Bank in Wexford. What would you like to say?
Well, they've been long and loyal members of this union. The union will be still there for them, to support them, to assist them in developing their careers, whatever way they want to go forward. Again, just to acknowledge their dedication through the biggest logistical change since the euro, and these people took it on their shoulders and have delivered it for customers.
Will many of them manage to find work if they so wish? Some will retire, obviously, but will many find work, and are many finding work since all this happened?
I think in the conversations I've had in the last few days, it's mixed. Some people are very clear what they're going to do. Some people have, options laid out for them, and some people, quite frankly, will need a bit more support because they really don't know what to do. They've been career bankers all their lives, and they were really waiting for this to occur and then deciding what pathway they would take. But as I said, the union, they've been long and loyal union members. The unions will be there to support them going forward.